Hi guys, so just another quick gt7 video. So yeah, I think I'm going to rent the event specific car because I don't have the event, so it's a fly car which is at the top of the leaderboard. So I'm obviously going to go ahead and try to get a quali lap or two in, just because, you know, so that even if it's relatively slow, that will put me up a few positions on compared to people that haven't set a lap. So if the best lap is 120 and they only set a 126, that's relatively slow. The top lobby is going to be between probably 120 to 122. So, you know, I'd say 124 will be getting, you know, but no, the best laps are around, the top laps are around 154. So I'd say if I set a 2-minute 10, 2-minute 5, that'd be pretty decent. So, but I want to aim for as fast as I can go, really. So I'm gonna look for about maybe a 56 and try and improve on that. I'm not gonna get that sort of pace, but you know, I'm gonna have to have a years of work on the game if I'm gonna do that. So yeah. So I've really only got time for 1 or 2 laps. 2 if I'm fast enough, 1 if I'm too slow. If I hit the wall too many times, for example. So this is a 4-lapper race. So this is going to make it interesting. So it's going to be about a 20-minute race. No, it's going to be about a 10-minute race. So I do have a temporary damage which does auto fix itself. So yeah. There are a load of combinations on this circuit and I'm only driving one of them, obviously. So on the first lap it's going to be pretty bunched up and there might be a lot of crashes because it is a street circuit. So if I'm racing side by side, I might just make it through, or if I'm on the inside, the opponent might end up going very wide, and that's an easy mistake to make when you're trying to race. You carry too much speed into that hairpin, you end up going into the pits and it ruins the race. So you have to really get a best line. If you're gonna be on the outside, you have to make sure you slow down enough so you don't go into the pits. If you're on the inside, you've just got to make sure you do brake in time. Otherwise, you're going to end up going very wide and you might lose 3 positions if they manage to all get on your inside. So, yeah. .207.4 there, I'm not that happy about it. I definitely think I can improve by quite a bit if I just get the lines, but, you know. I've already improved there by not hitting the wall, so that's something I can improve on for sure. I can also tidy some of my lines up by getting better lines as well. That will make me improve a lot as well. So, yeah. You know, braking a little bit later to try and get a line could help me gain time as well. I've got a terrible line through there, so the ghost is going to rapidly close back up on me. I'm going to hit the wall there by mistake, so now I've lost even more time. Actually, I think I did start to gain a bit, but I've lost it overall. I haven't lost time overall. So as you can see here, the ghost is right on me now. The ghost is rapidly getting into it. Now I've just gone behind. So I'm going to have to get a rapid improvement in this hairpin to even think about getting an improvement. And as you can see, I've ended up fucking it up. I just have. So that's the end of a race, my quali really. So unless it gives me another 40 seconds. But the thing with that is it's just not going to work because the game's not, you know, you've got the time to do your quali laps and that's it. So once it hits 5 seconds, that's my final chance to get to the line. More like 10 seconds. So I'm beating my ghost by quite a bit now, but that's because I messed it up bad. But anyway, if I had enough time, I would be able to do another lap, but I can't. As much as I want to do another lap, I just can't. The ghost has just hit the wall there, so yeah. I've had a slight tap of a wall there. That's going to slow me down by a few tenths, or quite a few seconds by the time I've actually got to the corner. But yeah, oh, see there, that mistake made the ghost catch up to me quite a lot. So that, if that could have been me losing a position in the race, that could have been. If it was in, if that situation was in a race, that could have been, and that would have been the position loss if I did that in the race. So the best thing to do is to push in the corners to a comfortable extent, to a point you can see you're close to the wall, but not to a point you're hitting it. So actually everyone has set a lap, so I'm dead last. Actually, so you know, it's good to know that everyone's set a lap, but I'm starting dead last. There's no luck of me starting a few positions ahead because no one set a lap quali lap. So you know, it is going to be quite a race because everyone is pretty much in the lobby now, as you can see. So you do the maths. It is 9 seconds, I believe, about 9 seconds from first to last, or technically 8.9 seconds because that's 58.5. I'm a 2.74. So yeah, so top lap 1:58.5. I'm a 2.74. So yeah. So no, I don't have to worry about anyone gaining rapidly from me behind because I'm the last person. So now all I can really do is just jam my throttle on the pedal, jam my finger on the throttle, really, that's all I can do. So, but I'm still getting gap rapidly. It looks like I'm getting gap, to be fair. So I guess, but going to T1 is surely going to create some chaos. It looked like it. It's going to be very packed going into the first hairpin. So I'm sure this is going to cause a lot of chaos. I'm sure it will. Just getting the braking point better can really make me gain positions. There's going to be quite a bit of chaos happening there. Someone's already got a time penalty. That is crazy to think about. 4-second time penalty. What has he done? What has this guy done to get a 4-second? He must have rammed someone into the wall. Surely. Talking about ramming, I've just hit myself into the wall, so now I'm going to lose a load of time. Hopefully the damage gets fixed very quickly. And hopefully I can gain some time under braking. Hopefully I can. Maybe people go really wide for a hairpin, or 4 people get punted off, maybe, I don't know. Nah, this is a street circuit, so I'm sure there's going to be more crashes. I'm sure there bound is to be. Like that, for example. I hope a lot of people do that. I don't mean this in a harsh way, but it's just like the way, you know, if you're in a lobby where the top people are going to be very close, the way people are going to gain mainly is going to be by people in front of them just hitting the wall or going very wide through a corner when maybe they misjudged a braking by maybe 10 metres, so they went a little bit wide and they've just got about a car width and they're really right behind. They can try and slot into that car width on the inside or on the outside, depending on where it is at the time and depending on the scenario. I do feel like what I think should be done is that they make more daily races without the BOP. Whatever it stands for, like power limit or something. Brake over power, maybe. So it's basically making my braking better than my power, maybe. I don't know what it stands for. I don't know. Alright, I'm no expert. If you know what it stands for, please let me know. I would love to know what BOP stands for. Anyway, so yeah. I'm lucky to not get a penalty there. I've just pushed too hard through that corner. I could have gained time, but I instead have lost time. So, yeah. You know, do you guys know about the stabbing in Sheffield? Like, I will tell you because I like to chat about a lot of stuff, but basically there's been a 12-year-old boy in foster care has stabbed their carer. Like, I did have a look up on my PC about it just because I wanted to know more info about it, just because I'm curious. Obviously, I want to know what's happened because I'm like that. I don't, I show interest and stuff like that because I want to know what's happened to the innocent person, and I think they've died or something. So, yeah. But basically, it's like you've got to think what's going through that kid's head. You've got to think what has he been through. What he's probably been through is he's grew up in a house of violence and he's kind of struggled to settle into his family and he's not sure what to do. He's scared of being rejected. He might have been rejected times, so to try and stop that from happening, he just stabs the carer to go, if you're gonna reject me, I'm not gonna make sure you don't reject me, But for the child, if he wants the family, he's gonna be able to, find a way to trust him. But it's gonna be hard for someone like him, for what he's been through, And it's like there's a lot of people that want to help him, but with the risk of them being stabbed to death, they're gonna be scared to help because they don't want to die, What can they do to try and stop the kid from wanting to get the knife and do it, They can't really do much. I'm going to be able to get a 12th place before the end. Let's see. I've gained a lot of time considering the factor. But is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Actually, I can see him in the distance. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. It's not going to be enough. I can see the finish right here. But I had a pretty clean race, so I'm happy with that. I'm not too happy. I'm going to go into daily race A, I think. I think that's the best bet. Anyway, right, so daily race A is the next plan. I'm going to have a look at the time trials as well. I'm going to give this another go, just because, yeah, because I'm confident with this, you see. I've done a lot of driving on the F1 games on this track, but the thing is, I've got to kind of think, alright, this is going to be similar to an F1 car, maybe, because it is Alpine, I think it is, and Alpine is an F1 team, but I'm not saying it's going to be like an F1 car, I'm saying it might be similar, because it is it does sound like a fast car, I would say. But then some car names can sound very good and fast, but they end up being not as fast as it sounds. So, you know, that might be what it is like. I don't know. You know? You know, and the bad thing is, right, the lad that did do the stabbing, he didn't even get a proper sentence. Like, he's 12, 13, right? He only got 2 years for stabbing, for committing murder. Like, if that's how it's gonna work, I know he's a kid, right? But that doesn't change the fact he stabbed someone to death. It doesn't, you know? At the end of the day, it's like, are they letting him get away? Maybe the reason there's so many young murderers is because they know they can do that and near enough get away with it, you know? I admit that could be a main reason people do it. And the thing is, they have to be fair and know they're a kid, but at the same time, it's like, are you going to show mercy if someone stabs, if a 14 if your friend has got if your son has got mates, one of them mates stabs your son to death, right? Are you gonna show them mercy in court? No, you're not. Are you gonna want them to suffer in prison? You probably are, you know. So why would you show it mercy to a random stranger you don't even know? That you know, like, you might in a way feel bad for the kid, knowing he's probably been through a lot, but you're still gonna understand that that does not excuse what he's done. That it does not make what he's done right in any way. It does not. You know? I'm not saying in answer to this, I'm like, come on, like, I know people have can go through a lot, and that can affect what we do. And that can tend to affect what we do, and that can tend to make them do stuff they don't want to do, but, you know, he's still done what he's done. He needs to learn. So when he comes out of prison, he might change or he might do it again. You know, only he, until he's come out, only he knows what he's going to do. If he plans to do it again, then he's going to, you know, when he's, I think he's 13, so when he's 15, right, he might get an even longer sentence now that he's older. So instead of at 2 years, it might be quadrupled if he does it again. So he gets 8 years, for example, or 10 years. It really depends, like, how bad it is. Like, for example, like, I would say 2 years in prison. If you stole maybe 10 grand of goods, you might get a year in prison for that. So that you can learn that what it's like in prison. You don't have much, so you might have a few jobs so you can earn money. You know, there might be a prison designed for people that tend to, like, steal, and the aim is to help them get a career and stuff. Where there's jobs in a prison, you get paid money, similar wages to what you would get paid in real life, to basically kind of replicate, alright, you know, if you're going to want to have a good life, you're going to have to do the best decisions, really. You know, you're going to have to think, alright, we're going to start like this, and then I'm going to get enough money to do this business, or to make my own business, you know? You know, like, you might put your money into a food business, like, into, like, a proper food business, you know? You go to parks, you make food with your own equipment, right? You don't have a truck or anything, you have a grill, and then you whip food up for everyone, you know? And you charge pretty cheap prices, so people see your price and automatically want to buy from you, and that might be a tactic you use to make, you know, you might use real stuff, like proper good cheap suppliers that can really get you the best stuff for such little money, which the aim is not so you can make a fortune, it's to help you not have to pay a fortune, to not have to charge a fortune for the customers, so that they can get the cheapest goods possible, right? And so instead of charging 8 quid for a burger, with just cheese, you only charge about £4 for that, which is half the price, or maybe even less, maybe £2.50, you know, which, considering that the price of a burger is only going to be about 50p maximum, is getting £1.50, right, getting about, you know, getting £2 profit is pretty overpriced, I would say. So yeah, you know, so you've got to think about what you can do basically to basically, you know, for example, let's say, I don't know, for example, you charge that for £1, you're only getting 50p profit. I would say that's a fair price. If, let's say, someone orders some bacon on it with onions, and let's say the onions cost you 20p for that, and then the bacon costs you 2 rashers of bacon, which costs you 30p, 15p each, right? So then you charge £1 for a plain one with just a burger and a cheese, right? Now you're charging, let me just do the maths quickly. So £1, so 30p, that's for bacon, and then for the onions it's 20p, that'll be £1.50. So then if you charge £2 to make another 50p, you're charging good prices. I'm sure people are going to see your prices and want to buy from you, because they're going to look at any other stand and go, this is a lot cheaper and I'm getting the same thing. Yeah, it may not be my favourite brand of bacon or onion, but what really is the difference? You know, what the hell is the difference of it, you know? But then at the same time, like, you've got to think about it in a way that if it seems so sketchy, a price, think about, is there a safety precaution price? Are they buying, or are they getting supplies from a really low rated brand that probably has had a lot of bad health reviews, you know, before? So the people that inspect it do end up rating it only 2 stars out of 5 stars. You know, I'd say like 3.5 stars would be the minimum for people to want to buy it safely. You know, 4 stars is decent, 5 stars is just top quality. You know, if it's 1 star, you shouldn't really trust that. But, you know, sometimes they might have just had a really bad year or something, and it might have just been, what the hell happened? They realised what happened. They might have just been not maybe cooking it. They might have just been slightly undercooking it, so it looks bad, but it was still safe to eat. So they just make sure they cook it for a little bit longer, meat or something, you know. Like, you for example, I would rather eat overcooked chicken than slightly undercooked. But it's safe to eat, but it's just on the borderline. So like, I would rather eat overcooked chicken and chicken that is just on the borderline of being safe to eat. I really would, because I would rather have that extra safety precaution in place that it's overcooked, so it's 100% safe to eat, you know. Than me take the risk on chicken that might be raw still, which you can't see, but you can taste it's raw when you actually try it. Like, that corner bar, I'm just pushing too much. Like, that's where I need to work out. Like, I'm just pushing too hard through this corner, bro. That's why I'm pushing too hard for one corner, which gets it invalid. It's so annoying, but that's the thing. Like, I try to turn my car best I can, but I just can't. Like, it's really just started to annoy me, but that's just something that happens. It's not this corner, it's this next corner that I'm struggling with to keep it in my limits. That's in my limits now. That is good enough for me. Now I just need to break at the right point so I don't go wide and screw my lap up. Oof. I'd say that corner that I almost slid on is the hardest corner for this car. It's whether I probably don't have a setup actually, but I would hope they would automatically do the right setup. So anyway, I can improve by braking a little bit later now. So I just need to have a look and see if I'm in bronze or not. If I am, I'll leave it. If I'm not, I won't. No, I'm not. Let's have a look. Oh god, 1:35.9. That's not good. I'm gonna have to work out. I'm gonna have to just try and save off another 2 seconds. I'm gonna have to. So that's the question. Can I do it? Because there's only 9 hours left. So about 9 hours left of the thing. So I don't have much time to actually do it. So, you know, like if that lad goes to that prison, he's going to have to learn how to basically do a future for himself or from scratch. He's not going to have a help of his parents because, you know, or his foster parents because he's killed them. You know, he's going to look back on that. I'm sure he will look back on that in 10 years from now and regret his decision for the rest of his life. You know, I'm sure now after he's done that, he's going to be, I'm sure, you know, if he was a good person inside, he would have stabbed her and begged for her to stay alive. I'm sure he would have. But I don't know. I don't know that lad. I don't even know who he is. All I know is he stabbed someone. So, you know. But generally, that's all I know. Like, I don't know the kid at all. I don't know his goddamn name. I don't. You know, and secondly, he's too young to be named. How would I know his name? I'd only know his name, right, if maybe anyone had contact with him and then they talked to me about it, you know? You know, like, for example, talking about like farting and stuff. Right, on the duck fair thing, right, I tend to talk about my life a lot because I like to. Basically, I was hanging out with a group of friends, right? There's some people I don't really get along with too much. But quite a few of them I do know from my school. I'm friends with quite a few of them. But basically, there was this drunk guy, right, that came up to us, right? He just started chatting shit about me and all, right? And then what happened is, like, he was chatting all this shit. He started to be racist towards one of the people there, which is, I want to say this with much respect, is black. So basically what happened is, like, I thought he was going to go for him. I was stood behind the child kid I was hanging out with that's black, right? And I thought the guy was going to go for him, so I, like, grabbed his shirt to try and pull him away to stop it. And, like, luckily the guy didn't do anything else, because to be honest, right, I'm the sort of person that if I have to, I will fight. But at the same time, he's drunk. I don't know if he's got a knife on him. He could have a fucking gun on him for all I know. And I don't want to fucking die. Like, I just want to live my life, bro. Like, he just comes up to us. He starts on us. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure he called him a black bastard at one point. I think he did. So, you know, like, that's really bad. Like, and just generally being really racist and all. You know, racist to the point is he was being called the N-word, which obviously I'm not going to say. But, you know, if you know what I'm on about, you know what I'm about. If I don't, you're going to have to learn what it is, and hopefully you don't repeat it, you know? That was just me talking about my life for a bit of, not clout, but just like, you know, to make the, you know, you guys might not really care, but you might still listen to it, and you might find it interesting, you know? I don't know. You might not really care, or you might not find it interesting. You might, you know, you don't have to care. I'm just being a YouTuber, really, and having a normal conversation. So, how has all guys' days been? Has your day been alright? Has your day been average? Has your day been bad, or has it been really good? Or has it been a bit of both? Have you had some ups and downs, you know? For example, everyone in life is going to have ups and downs, you know? Like, in life, you're going to have ups and downs, because the ups is where you're feeling happy, the downs is where something happens that upsets you or makes you feel less happy, you know? So, and for example, maybe depression, you know, but depression isn't that you wake up and you see it's raining and, oh, I'm depressed. How it works is, it's like serious. It's like you have to have events that actually make you really hurt to the point you want to take your own life. It's like, you know, but or just generally you're in such a state that you're so sad that you don't want to hang out. You start to lose your whole appetite. You start to you might actually eat more, actually. Maybe you might start to eat a lot more because of your depression, or you might start to starve yourself just because, you know, you might start to starve yourself because you're kind of, what's the right word, not happy with your body. You know, you should always be happy with your body. You know, if you gained some weight recently, right, and you want to lose that weight, you bringing yourself down is not going to help you. You being positive about it and going, yay, it's another day, I want to lose weight today. You've got to have the attitude to lose weight. You've got to do what you need to do to try and lose the weight. You know, whether it's getting up at 6:30 a.m, jumping in the shower, throwing on some clothes, and then doing a 2-hour jog with some, I don't know, maybe with a frozen water bottle in the freezer you grab out. So then it's kind of as a treat, as you're running, it's gonna melt if it's in the sun. So you tend to drink it. You know, you might jog to the gym, and then you do a 1-hour workout at the gym, then you jog back to your house, or you might jog to the gym and run back to your house. That's good exercise. You're not just doing exercise, you're getting a proper workout to try and gain some muscle or strengthen your legs or your arms, you know? And then you might decide, and then you might, I don't know, you might go then out for a birthday meal, for example. It might be your mate's birthday, so at 6, you're getting ready at 6 p.m. to go out for a meal. So then you celebrate, you have a party, and then the next day you wake up and you do the same thing again, but without a party, obviously. You know, there are a lot of professional coaches, not even professional, but a lot of people that are dedicated to helping people lose weight, or generally, another thing about losing weight is getting the right meals in. If you're doing a lot of exercise but you're not eating the right meals, you might actually be gaining weight, even though no matter the amount of exercise you do tend to do, because you're just gaining, so you lose a bit of calorie, maybe a couple thousand calories throughout a day, and then within one bite you're practically gaining that back. You know, one way you can fix that is basically just by cutting down on all the oil you have and stuff like that, thinking, alright, swapping out this bacon for less fat bacon, you know? That's one way to consume a couple hundred less calories. Easy. Simple, you know? Or if you're at McDonald's, swapping out those large fries for medium fries will save you quite a bit of calories as well. You know, you're getting the same thing, but you're just getting a bit less of it to not gain as many calories. And if you're still hungry after that, you can maybe get yourself some small fries, you know? If you're still hungry after that, you know? That's the thing, you know? You might get yourself a breakfast wrap, a drink and 2 hash browns. That's your meal that's your breakfast at Mackey's for the day. And then you might grab yourself one more hash brown because you're still feeling hungry. That's your breakfast done for the day. And then for lunch you might go to Mackey's, you might get, I don't know, a fillet of fish, you might get small fries and a drink. That's an alright meal. But you know, there's certain things you can do to swap out to get better like meals and stuff. So I don't really know what I'm doing wrong, but I just keep getting my lap in. I don't know how I'm invalidating my lap. I really don't. But I just tend to like invalidate my lap without even realising that's the problem that I'm having, I would say. I think the lap thing was like a 35.9 or something, but I'm going to try and get a couple more, another improvement just to be safe. Maybe to get into the 40, maybe to get into the 34s, maybe even the 33s, depending how I drive. Now I'm going to try and, in the last sector, get the better lines to try and get that extra second improvement. Because I tend to lose a lot of time in that last sector. That's the problem on the lap. You know, I'm going to try and keep really close here. You know, maybe I might get an even better line. Now, I've gained time there, as you can see, but I've lost it again because I didn't get a best exit. I've messed up now, so that's the cue. I think that's my cue to leave it. Because when I'm on a lap, right, and I'm close, and then I mess up, that's where I'm losing it, I would say. So as you can see, look, 134.6, 135.9. So, yeah. So as you can see, right, all the way from P1 let me check, 1398. So all the way from P1 to about, I think here maybe. No, 21.8, I think, 29.8, I think it is. Yeah, 28. Yeah. It's either 28.8. Yeah, I think, pretty sure it's a 28.8. So. No, it's a 29.8. So I've just screwed it up again. So. I'll say probably about 3,000. No, more like 4,500 maybe. $7,500. Look, you can see how close it is, bro. You can just see it. 10,000 maybe. 15,000. Surely. So from about here, they're just off the goal time. But that's still a very fast time. So, you know, they've earned themselves a nice 1 million credits, and you know, if they get a 10th improvement, or not even that, maybe 10 milliseconds, they are going to get another 1 million. So I feel like, you know, considering this, you know, that is 10 seconds, that's 3 seconds, 5, 10. So it's like, you know, now I'm going to have a look at the first time trial, just to see what it is. So, you know what, I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Yeah, because why not? So, same again. I'm just going to drive 1 lap on here. I'm going to set myself a 1 lap challenge. That's what I'm going to do. So, yeah. You know, like, a 1 lap challenge, right? Is, let's say I'm doing a track that, let's say we make a new fictional track which is false, right? A non-fictional, I'm pretty sure, is a real track. So we make a new fictional track which looks very good and looks like a track that could exist in real life, but it's not, right? And I set a lap, and let's say it's a relatively short track. It's one of those tracks where every millisecond counts, because there's only about, no, let's say it is a relatively, it's not as long as the Nürburgring, it's about 4 minutes every lap. Oh no, let's say it's just below a minute every lap for the, let's say for a car like this, it'll be about 1 minute 05, 105, or 1 minute 35, right? And the best records are about 132, and the bronze time is a 141, and I managed to set a decent pace considering where my friends are on the board and stuff. I managed to set myself a 138.5 first go. That could be pretty decent, you know. But as I drive more, I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna get quicker, you know. That's the same with any track, really. So, yeah, I'm going to set myself 1 valid lap challenge. So, it doesn't matter how slow it is, can I get a good valid lap challenge? All I have to do is make sure to not hit the wall, and it will be valid, it should be. It should be valid as long as I don't hit the wall. So, you know. I'm going to be nowhere near lap record pace, but what I know for a fact is that oh, alright, it's still invalid. I didn't even realise. I think I'm going to just retry now, actually. So, 1 more lap and then I'm going to leave it, because if I mess up again, I just don't think I'm going to do it, because I just don't want to be here for 20 minutes. You know, because I could be doing another daily race by now. I genuinely could. I don't even know how I invalid. Probably because I went too far on these lines. To be fair, that's probably why. As long as I keep it at a barrier for one lap, I'll complete the challenge. So yeah. The aim is to not hit the wall on the hairpin. That's my aim. I'm not going to push too much through the hairpin just because I don't know how strict the track limits are. So, you know, I might be able to gain a few attempts if I actually do push the track limits, but I don't want to take the risk right now of that. I really don't. I can't be arsed with that. So, that was very close to the ball. I was nervous I was going to hit it, but I'm not going to go wide in the tunnel like I normally do, because the tunnel is kind of dark to see. Almost bottled it there, but it was just a flat out corner. This is not flat out. I need to brake. Right, don't push too hard through this next corner. Not here, this corner here. Not this corner. This corner. Alright, I'm going to do one more lap just to try and improve a bit. No, that's enough. So I think I know that's a bronze, but is it a silver time? Let's see. No, it's not. That has to be a 2 minute. That's going to be hard for me to get, that is. I feel like a bronze time, not a bronze time, I feel like a silver time should be more like 2 minutes free, just because, but then that's just how it is really at the end of the day. So yeah, but anyway, now I've got bronze, at least bronze and all, so that's 750k if I stay like that. But throughout, the one I should be guaranteed to stay on is this one, because there's 9 hours left. This has got 7 days left, yeah, so yeah, throughout that time I might drop off it if enough improvements are made to a high enough extent, but yeah. Is there any championships I can enter? Let's have a look. No things currently available. So BOP, oh, that's interesting. How many laps is it? 3 laps. I don't really want to do that. I just don't like the look of the car. It just seems too much the thing. So yeah, I'll do one more race on it and then I'll end the video for you guys. So what's the thing? 2050. So I'll do rent a Pacific car. I've got 1 lap to do it now, so I'm just going to put on this world's second best ghost in the world, and then I'm just going to do the lap and just pray I can get an improvement pre, you know. Even if it's 5 attempts, that could be worth 1 position, you know, that generally could be. So my aim is going to be top 12 start, I reckon, if I get an improvement. Or, you know, if I do get an improvement, top 12 in a thing. But if I don't, I'll aim for anywhere. So, yeah. Yeah, I just don't think I'm going to get an improvement. So I think I'm going to have to leave it here. So I'm going to do the race just because I don't want to be that person that says he's going to do a race and doesn't. You know? Because I'm not like that. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. And I guess, you know, you guys are just going to be waiting that I'll pause it. So yeah, now it's about time for the race. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just doing a quick something on a game. So I'll be here in a few seconds. So yeah, it's lucky I got that when I did, because it was literally about to start. So I'm starting P15 once again. Not too happy, but ideally it is just a situation. So, you know, we do have some British people in here. A few, two at the back. I'm not sure about the mid pack at all, but if I gain lots of positions, we'll find out. So, yeah. That's a terrible mistake I've made, of bottling it into the wall, but that's just something that happens. You know, sometimes people do make mistakes, and that's just something I did. So, I'm not very happy. I'm very unhappy. I don't know what happened. I tried to steer my car, but the car just wouldn't turn. That's just unfortunate, really. And I just wish the game would let out a safety car so I could catch back up or something, or yellow flag so I can catch back up by a second or two. But yeah. Bro's getting defensive. You know, I left her gentleman racing room, and you know, when someone's faster than you just gotta leave them room. You know, you can't just like. But the guy which has now got away because of a fight that happened. Well, no, I just saw him around the corner, so he's not that far ahead. And what is that him? Yeah, that's him. I think that's the guy that tried to ram me. No, it's not. I don't think that was the guy. It did look like it, but it's not. So, or it might have been actually. I'll have to review the situation. I mean, like, I'm imagining having like a 6-way battle for the win on this track. Like, that could be a very good battle, you know, like, or maybe not as much, because then it would be more like, if we're racing side by side, and I'm on the outside, can I get a run on the hairpin, or am I just going to totally bottle it into the wall? If I was on the inside, are they going to be able to get the run on me on the outside? If they are, I'm going to have to try and just stick as close on me, you know, I'm going to have to just try and stay alongside them as much as I can to try and get a move on the next, and when I'm on the inside next. Unless some people crash, there's just no way anything's going to happen, and there's been no yellow flag yet, so that's not a very good sign. He's obviously going to go for it because it's the last lap, but he's going to screw it up big time. But come on, bro, like, come on, this is rigged. This is clearly rigged. Like, my car once again does not steer. Like, how is this even fair? Anyway, guys, peace out and bye. Have a lovely rest of the day, and or evening, or morning, or afternoon. And as always, comment below any video ideas you have for my channel, maybe any suggestions for GT7 content or content in general. Peace out and bye.